Hey guys, what is going on? This is Pantsar Dragon, and today we'll be doing a little video on Malzahar, who is definitely broken and I was so wrong about, and I'll be telling you why he's OP and be doing a little guide on him. Now, to clarify why I thought he wasn't so broken on the PB servers, was because I was confused if he was an AD or an AP champion due to his low AP ratios and base damage, but they have buffed it a little since then, and one of the big reasons why I thought he wasn't so OP was because he was doing a lot less damage than the old Malzahar. But I did know his objective control and clear speeds were very strong. Maybe I should have put a little bit more emphasis on that, and in my gameplay video, he didn't really seem too OP I think, but now, on the live servers I've found out the right build, I've seen how powerful he can be, and now with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so after playing him a little bit, I've found some reasons on why I think he's really strong. First off and foremost, his clear speeds are insanely strong. He doesn't really take any damage because his voidlings will tank everything, and they also deal a ton of damage to the creeps, so he can power farm the jungle like no tomorrow, and he'll just excel in levels before you know it. He can also solo objectives with quite ease, as he can solo a dragon, the Rift Herald, and even the Baron. And since some of the dragons are really powerful right now, it's definitely a good thing that Malzahar can solo these objectives. And he's got good level 6 ganks, especially if he appears behind the enemy, since the enemy will have to run through the voidlings to get to his tower. Funny enough, he's also a great duelist because of his W. No one wants to go close to you because they know that those voidlings will probably fuck him up. Except maybe the enemy jungler, because he has smite and then he'd smite your minion and you're like, oh no, fuck, I'm dead, or something like that. So just watch out for enemy junglers who want to duel you, because they probably have that plan of smiting your minion. Unless you're in bronze or silver or whatever, then you don't really have to worry. Also, melee champions versus Malzahar can't really touch this.
You can't touch this.
Okay, fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can't really get near him because of the zoning with his W. Just the potential to deal a lot of damage and also just constantly slow the enemy can be really annoying. So unless you're like an assassin or a ranged champion, good luck getting through his passive, his melee minions, and rally his crystal scepter. You literally can't touch this. Alright, so the next thing that's OP with him is the passive. Late game, it's pretty hardcore. Like, every 6 seconds you get a 90% damage reduction and a fucking spell shield. Good design there, right? I mean, it only refreshes if you're out of combat, but still it's like, oh, I'm invincible. So in my opinion, either reduce the damage reduction to like 50% or even the duration to like 10 seconds. But in all seriousness, the design problem is going to be his W, since it is a variable that can multiply itself by a lot, and because of that, it's actually a very hard skill to balance by itself, so they're probably going to rework the W in some way. Next up is going to be his silence, or his Q. So even old Malzahar had this problem, where the silence is actually pretty obnoxious, since it's an AoE silence that lasts for 3 seconds. Well, now it's 2, but it is on a 6-second cooldown instead of 9. But overall, the most problematic thing is probably going to be his W. Everything else is like icing on the cake. Where the cake is his voidlings. Alright, so we're done with all the things that make Malzahar OP. Now we're going to be going onto the build, and it looks something like this. So mastery is 12-0-18, I don't really like anything in cunning. Deathfire touch I don't really like unless you're playing like Brand or someone like Jin, and just going this mastery page is pretty standard for any jungler. My Fiddlesticks one was different because he had really good synergy with Storm Raider Search. Now for the runes, you're probably like, huh? What the fuck is this shit? So for yellows, you just take hit point per level or armor per level, since you don't really take any damage in the jungle. Hybrid pen because your minions do physical damage and magic damage, and that's one of the things you'll be maxing out first. So you'll be doing a bit of both damage in the early game, but of course more magic damage. And we have 1 quint and 9 blues, which are CDR flat, because we want maximum uptime on our W, so we can keep spamming it in the jungle and getting that farm. Now for the build, it's not going to be the AD build I did on a PBE, because they actually nerfed the AD ratios just a little bit, and also his AP ratios have gotten better since then. So that's why we go into an AP build, and we go the Rylai's Liandry's combo while trying to emphasize on M-Pen. But also having CDR on Malzahar is really good because you want your W out as much as possible. For situational items, you might want to get a Death Cap and replace it with the Runic Echoes if you have 6 items already, or Azonia's Hourglass if they have a lot of AD, and the Luden's Echo to replace your boots. I don't remember why I put a Morello's Namek on there, but if you're not getting Abyssal Scepter or Zonya's Hourglass and you want 40% CDR, you can get this item after Leonji's and Rowling's Crystal Scepter. Yeah, that makes sense. And the reason I go Trekker's Knife on Malzahar is because we don't really get too close to people, so we can't really Stalker's Blade smite them, and we really don't need to gap close too hard on enemies since, well, we're a mid-range mage and we can already kite the melees with a Rowling's Crystal Scepter. Plus they already don't want to get in front of us, so yeah, Trekker's Knife is just really nice, especially since it's like a Sightstone. But now for the next part of the video, we'll be going on to some tips and tricks with Malzahar. Alright, so first off, you want to be as close as possible to the camp when you're using your W. The reason you do this is because your minions spawn around you and not off your last minion, which proc the multiplication. So you don't want that downtime of not auto-attacking where your minion is just walking to the camp. So yeah, in the jungle, just stay close to your jungle friends. Now for the next tip. I didn't really notice until Red Mercy actually told me, but your Q and R refresh the duration of your E. So this actually changed the way on how I play Malzahar just a little bit, as now in the jungle, you want to use your E and then you use your Q right before your E is about to run out. So you get an 8-second E going on onto the jungle camps, and yeah, your clear speeds will be a little bit faster. This is also very helpful for clearing the minion waves, and even sometimes I'll actually delay the usage of my R just because I know that I can refresh my E's duration when I use my ultimate. But those are really rare occasions where I'll ever do that. But it is definitely something useful to keep in the back of your head. Now you're probably wondering about the combo. Alright, so they actually made the combo a bit easier to do since there's a less priority to hitting your Q since you're maxing it out last. And now all you gotta do is hit your E and W and your R and you're good to go. Your Q is just a bonus because it will probably slow with Rowling's Crystal Scepter, and it also refreshes your E's duration. Oh yeah, and it also silences. Alright, so for our next tip, when you have 3 Voidlings, you can actually walk away from camps around level 9 and you won't even have to be there to do them. The reason behind this is because when you have 3 or more Voidlings, you have 50% more attack speed on them, and this is really nice because it's kind of like AFK farming. But before you do this, you have to make sure on how much damage you actually have in your Voidlings and if they can actually clear the camps. So sometimes you might, not even finish the whole camp, and this is more of an in-game kind of thing where you have to judge it based on how much damage you're outputting and to see if you have to stay at the camp a little bit more, or if you think your Voidlings can handle it. For our next tip, to solo Baron, you need 30% CDR. This is because with 30% CDR, your Voidlings are always going to be up since they last for 12 seconds, and your cooldown on your W is about 11.6 with 30% CDR. And yet the Baron doesn't really have any splash damage that can one-hit the Voidlings, and can only one-shot them with his single target attack. Just like the Baron, you can also solo a Dragon as early as level 2. Red Mercy's video showed me this, but yeah, the Fire Dragon is the most cancerous thing to do. Same with the Earth Dragon because they both have splash damage, and the Ocean and Air Dragon are the easiest. What I recommend doing is getting to level 3 with having the blue buff, and just straight up doing it if it's a Fire Dragon or a Water Dragon, and maybe if you want the Air one. You can do the Earth Dragon for fun since it does actually give a little bit more XP than before, and it just builds up for the Elder Dragon stack. I still stand by my point that it is the shittiest dragon of them all, except for maybe when you have plans for Baron. But yeah, keep in mind you can do Dragon easily as Malzahar jungle, or even Malzahar mid lane. For next tip, so as Malzahar jungle, you want to be a heavy farm jungler, since Malzahar has really OP clears, and you kind of want to emphasize that a lot. Now obviously when you hit level 6 you want to try and look for ganks, because his ganks are actually better than Warwick's, since his suppression lasts for 2.5 seconds, while Warwick's suppression lasts for about 1.8 seconds. So yeah, in that sense it's actually better, as there's going to be more room for your teammates to follow up on. Next up is going to be a little teamfight tip. So basically just ult someone who you think is going to die. Before I had a lot of hesitation on who I should ult with Malzahar, but now it really doesn't matter because I feel like everyone's going to die, especially when your teammates are beside you, and your Voidlings are also very helpful for taking out enemies. Basically in teamfights you can just spam your spells and you'll probably win, but your W should be used at the right times, since it's the only skill that's on a fairly long cooldown. For instance, in conjunction with your E and R, when a melee champion is going on to you and you have your W to zone them, but mostly you want to decombine it with your E and R. And it's also a little bad to start a team fight without your W. And yeah, that's about it for tips and basically this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, in my last video, I asked you guys what do you guys think about Fiddlesticks, and here's some of my favorite comments. For a chance to be featured in a feature video, make sure to comment below on what do you think they have to nerf about Malzahar to make him not OP. And also if you did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, I am Panther Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.